from a little village in southern France. I'm filming in a new location. I'm not in eastern United States for right now. We're on vacation, and we're actually, for the first half of June, we are pet sitting and house sitting for for a woman who lives here, and she is on vacation. And so we have come to take care of her house, water plants, take care of her cat, and whatever needs to be done here during the time that she's away. So it's a wonderful situation for both of us. I'll describe my experiences in a vlog style. So if that interests you, please stick around. My traveling knitting project is very small for obvious reasons. We brought carry-on luggage only, did not check luggage, and have a small backpack each. So we travel light, especially that's easy in the summertime because we don't have as many clothes and sweaters and things. So so we still needed to keep things light because of subway travel. We learned the hard way that, well, we knew this before we came, but thought, how bad could it be? That there are many steps in the subway and some of the central stations where a lot of the lines come together, and there are no lifts. So you need to be able to lift your luggage and carry it up a couple of flights of steps when you make those changes in the metro. So um, that that was a good workout for us. Anyway, I'll describe a few adventures here in the Aquitaine, ancient region of southern France. We're just south of us is the Pyrenees, and it's Spain. So that's the general location. I'll put a map up of where that region is. So stick around, and I'll tell you some more. I reserved an Airbnb on the left bank of the Seine in a section called Villejuif, which is I guess historically the Jewish section. It was a great place to get over a little jet lag, and then we caught a train the next day and went south from Paris to Bordeaux, and taking only a few hours to do that. It was a bullet train, a very fast train, but really comfortable and affordable, and got us there quickly and with great comfort. The food at the train stations are wonderful because all of the food in France is wonderful. These simple baguette sandwiches really did the trick for that day. And our house sit turned out to be a lovely historic home with parts of the home dating back to the 1200s. And there were Persian carpets everywhere and lovely furniture. And of course, the cat. We were taking care of the cat, feeding him, but really he was a big tomcat who just spent his whole day outside. So he was very little work at all, just food in the morning and food in the evening. Take the audio off. Having lunch in this lovely garden. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll lean in a little bit. Some kind of honeysuckle bush behind us, I think.
Seems like it.
More of the garden.
And a butterfly bush behind the camera.
And our pizza lunch. The garden was really very small, with a tall wall that looked like it came from the Middle Ages, and just beautiful potted plants. And the view from the third floor looking down on the garden, so it was open at the top, and a few pigeons on the roof. We really enjoyed that garden and enjoyed looking out from the kitchen table into the garden. And sometimes we had dessert or lunch in the garden at the table. It was lovely and warm, and the weather was wonderful. On the second floor, there was a room that she called the salon, and it's a place to sit with huge windows that opened. Of course, no screens on the windows, just a lovely place to be. I must show you these fascinating stairs, beautifully painted. I'm up on the third floor where there is a bedroom and a yoga studio. I'm coming down the stairs, very narrow. I hope I can film and walk at the same time. Lovely view of her garden on the way down. Back down to the stairs. Very steep, almost like climbing a ladder. Now we're down to the second floor. Also looking out on the garden. And descending to the first level. A curve at each turn of the road, it seems. That brings us into a lovely large kitchen with a little table overlooking the garden. One of the advantages to having a car is that we could research different abbeys or churches or monasteries and then take a drive out in the countryside and check them out. And often they were open and we could sit and meditate and explore and see the beautiful interiors from the Middle Ages. It's amazing to think that this abbey was founded in the year 980. We're here in the countryside in France. Organs usually catch my attention, and I opened this harmonium in an abandoned church and played it, but it didn't sound so great, so I didn't record that. And we're starting another day with making our espresso and our French coffee and going out to explore a village not very far away. It seemed like no one was around. Another day we went to a chateau and looked around the grounds and also had a guide take us through the house, which was very interesting, very grand. And of course there was a music room. I did not play this piano, but I was captivated by the look of it. We have long been interested in the spiritual discipline of pilgrimage. I went on pilgrimage to holy sites in Ireland and Wales, and Joe went on pilgrimage hiking the Jesus Trail in Israel. During our time in France, we found ourselves living at one of the French pilgrimage routes that led to the great cathedral in Spain. The pilgrimage from medieval France to Santiago de Compostela was one of the most important religious journeys in Europe during the Middle Ages. Pilgrims believed that the tomb of St. James, Santiago in Spanish, lay in the cathedral of Santiago de Compostela in northwestern Spain. Medieval Christians traveled to Santiago for many reasons, like forgiveness of sin or deepen their faith. Along with Jerusalem and Rome, Santiago became one of the three great Christian pilgrimage destinations. The trip was arduous. The pilgrim walking from Paris might travel over 1,000 miles, taking several months to do it. Some of the challenges were like bad weather and disease, hunger, bandits, dangerous river crossings, or mountain passes in the Pyrenees. Pilgrims often carried a staff, cloak, a pouch for food, and a broad-brimmed hat. The symbol for pilgrimage became the scallop shell, which pilgrims wore on their clothing or on their hats. Monasteries, churches, and hospitals supported these travelers. Entire towns prospered because of the pilgrimage travel. We were living very near to several of these pilgrimage stops where pilgrims were hosted, and we wanted to experience those monasteries and churches for ourselves. Here, Joe is contemplating a pile of mussels and some fish at the market, Friday morning market, a wonderful time in the town square right outside our door where you could get fresh fruits and vegetables and meat and fish and coffee and pastries. Just so easy and so fresh. We enjoyed that each Friday. I'd like to talk about my knitting project, a little tiny project that I brought along for my travel knitting. I hope that the sound is okay. There's some kind of festival going on in the town square. It's right outside our windows here. The house that we're in is like a three-story house, and it's situated right on the town square, and it's Friday night. So and the windows are open. There's no air conditioning up here, so it's close to 80 degrees. And the windows are open, obviously. And so hopefully that sound is not coming through on the video. I don't think so. Anyway, I have my knitting in this handmade drawstring bag for travel. Something light, you don't want a heavy bag when you're trying to keep your luggage light. So as I said, I'm working on, I thought a Sophie scarf, either socks or a Sophie scarf would be the best choice for travel knitting. So I've made one or two of these little tiny scarves, and they make great gifts, and I have a couple for myself. So I just decided this is easy. It's kind of a mindless knit, it's not, you got some decreases, you got some increases, and that's about it. The only modification I made was I stopped when I thought it was wide enough. I don't like a super wide scarf. Sorry, I think I touched the mic. So I stopped here. I stopped increasing at the stitch marker and knitted all of this, 4 inches or whatever, straight. And now I'm ready to start the decreases. Now, how do I know that I'm ready to start the decreases? Well, one way is to buy a ball of yarn, and this is 25 grams, 25-gram ball of Cardiff cashmere. So really nice and soft, no scratchiness at all. It's not the greatest to work with. It's kind of a little, I don't know, splitty sometimes, especially at the I-cord edges here. Sometimes it's, your needle kind of splits the yarn. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's beautiful yarn. It is in a dark gray charcoal color, if that doesn't come through on the video. Wait, I got to get it up in front of my face. And so I weighed my yarn halfway through. I've been weighing it a couple times just to see where I'm at, and decided when I'm at 13 grams, which I am now, I will start the decreases, and that way I'll know I can use up all of this yarn on the decrease, and that will be this whole scarf. So that's what I'm doing. How do I weigh my yarn when I'm traveling? I have a little scales at home that weighs in grams, but wasn't going to bring that. And so in Europe, a lot of people have food scales in their kitchen, and that's how they measure rather than, I mean, they use measuring cups too, but they mainly weigh their flour and their sugar and stuff. That's just how the recipes are often written. So, yes, the lady has food scales in her kitchen, so thank goodness. I was able to weigh my yarn along the way and be able to know where I'm at and know when to start the decreases so that I can use up the whole ball of yarn. Anyway, I am using US 4, that's 3.5 millimeter needles, and like I said, these are bamboo. That is the safest to use when you're traveling, when you're flying. Different airlines have different rules. United is okay with knitting needles, but I don't think they'd want a big metal needle. So bamboo is a safer way to go. That you don't want your needles confiscated. In fact, I didn't really have a backup plan if mine do get confiscated, but I put them in my luggage, in my suitcase, which went up on the rack above, right? So not in my backpack. So hopefully their rules, I did research them, and should be okay, and hopefully I don't get them taken away from me. So the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit, did I say that already? And I'm halfway through it, and it's been a good choice for travel knitting.